Hello, everyone. My name's Joseph Pascone. That's Grogu. And I'm the host of the Turning Tides podcast. This is going to be a very special episode. As you can see, I'm live. This is a full motion capture here. I wanted to talk today about socialism, and specifically socialism in American history. So there's this idea and this notion floating around, specifically on right-wing circles, and maybe centrist circles too, that socialism, communism, Marxism in America is some brand new phenomenon. Like only recently, foreign actors have infiltrated the United States and brought with them their far left political ideologies. I'm sorry to tell those people, but they're entirely wrong. I'm going to tell you about a guy today who proves that socialism is at least as old as the Republican Party, if not older. Today we're going to talk about a guy named August Willich. August Willich was a Union Civil War general, as well as an ardent communist. He was a rival to Marx. He was an enemy to slavers and reactionaries across the globe. And in the end, he died forgotten, hidden in the dustbin of history because of his political beliefs. So let's start this story. August was born in 1810 in Prussia. He was a revolutionary from the jump. In 1848, he took part in the revolutions in that country. This resulted in him being exiled, where he found his way to England, where he met Marx, who was also in exile there. From here, August and Marx developed their rivalry. August was a part of the, let's say, left communist faction of the early communists, while Marx was more of a social democrat. He believed in building up bourgeoisie power so that the foundation for world revolution could be laid. For one reason or another, August had to flee England. I've heard several theories as to why that is. One, that he was trying to sleep with Jenny, and that Marx started a rumor that he was gay. I've heard one theory that he was a serial philanderer who basically slept with everyone, and for that reason, he was run out on a rail of England. From here, he finds his way to America. The Civil War begins, and he raises a volunteer regiment of German immigrants. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but Germans played a crucial, and I mean crucial, role in preserving the Union and destroying the Confederacy. There are numerous examples of Germans who were both generals and regular soldiers who performed superhuman feats in their attempt to preserve the Union. One of the most famous examples has been talked about recently. The Texas Germans, the free thinkers of Texas, they were executed by the Confederates for their opposition to enslavement. Another example, which again needs to be talked about more, is the German contributions to preserving Missouri as a Union state. In places like St. Louis, Germans made up the majority of the population. And when the Civil War started, they stuck to their Unionist guns. And without them, Robert E. Lee said as much, the state of Missouri would have become a Confederate state. So August first sees action in 1861, right at the beginning of the war. He's fighting with McClellan in West Virginia. He helps liberate that state from the enslavers and the traffickers of the Confederacy. He then transfers west to join U.S. Grant and his Western Army of Tennessee. He fights in numerous battles, the most famous of which is probably the Battle of Shiloh. At Shiloh, his unit is at first pushed back by the ferocity of the Confederate advance. However, he rallies his men, and while singing La Marseillaise, he leads them in a charge against the Confederates and helps save the day for the Union. Following this, he has his horse shot out from under him at the Battle of Stone's River, where he is actually captured by the Confederates. But he's not in Confederate custody for very long before he's transferred out and rejoins the Union ranks. He would fight at the Battle of Chickamauga Creek, and then he would deck himself in glory at the Battle of Missionary Ridge. So at Missionary Ridge, he had direct orders not to advance against the Confederate center. But seeing his opportunity and the strung-out nature of the Confederate defenses, he ordered his men up Missionary Ridge, and they captured the point very rapidly, and with few casualties in the grand scheme of things. This started a general rout of the Confederates as their center was pierced. The Battle of Missionary Ridge is considered one of the most lopsided Union victories in the entire Civil War, and it helped save the state of Tennessee from falling into Confederate hands once more. Following this, he joined Sherman on his march on Atlanta, where he fought in the battles around the city. He would be severely wounded at the Battle of Resaca in 1864, where he was retired from active military command and transferred to a more administrative role in the army behind the scenes. He would end his military career a breveted Major General of U.S. Volunteers. Following the war, he joined the Reconstructionists, Republicans, and helped administer Georgia for several years. Willich would eventually die in 1878. So as I stated before, this guy's legacy has been basically covered up. I think it's pretty obvious why that is. It's not a very good look for the Republican Party to have someone who is an open and avowed communist as a part of their original ranks. It's not a good look for America, which is supposed to be focused on individualism and the free market, to know that it was socialists and communists who fought to free all men and women in this country. Because let's not forget that socialists were a huge part of the early women's movement, just as they were a part of the civil rights movement in the 1950s and 60s. Now, August Willich's example is just one of a litany of Americans who believed in the promise of human liberty and the advancement of social justice as the next step in the American Revolution. I stand with Willich, and I stand with the millions of socialists, communists, anarchists, and leftists who have made this country great. So I hope that next time you see someone talking about socialism or communism and they speak about it as some sort of foreign idea, which is a brand new sensation, which sort of fell out of the sky, you can correct them. Or at the very least, you'll know that they're wrong. Thank you so much for watching. I'm your host, Joseph Pascone. If you liked the video, let me know in the comments and make sure to leave a like. If you didn't like the video, dislike it. I don't care. That's what it's there for. Have a good day.